Are you looking for a way to scale your short-term rental business and buy more properties? Well, co-hosting might be the right fit for you. Welcome to the Co-Host Coach podcast with Joe Roney. This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy Agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Coach. I am Joe Roney, and I am super excited to make a huge announcement today. And some of you may have already seen it, but at the Savvy STR Emerald Coast group, we are growing, and I have our first agent that is my right hand, Leah Yuhasz. I am super excited to have you on the podcast today. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. We've had, today's Tuesday, but it feels like a second Monday. So lots and lots of summertime crazy busyness, but wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. So kind of a little bit backstory. So you and I connected, it was, maybe a year and a half ago now. It feels like almost 2 years ago now. And Leah wanted to get into the co-hosting, and we connected and had some one-on-one calls. And one of the first ever people that I actually did more one-on-one coaching with, and man, watching you grow over the last couple of years has been freaking awesome. And also super excited to have you on the Savvy team. So how did you get into short-term rentals? What was your first niche to say, you know what, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So 2020 was kind of a big pivotal year. However, it wasn't until 2021 that it hit me that our family personally needed to make a different type of investment other than just 401k. Just very personally, as I was watching my mom get ready to retire, I saw her kind of scramble and rush through this, the stock market. She had saved so well her entire life. And, we never really know as we're approaching 60, 65 and those ages, if it's going to be enough. Yep. But actually watching it, because she was somebody that really procured everything that she had in the best way possible, watching her accounts just scared her to death. And so I kind of freaked out with her for her as somebody that wanted her to be here more with my kids. I thought, if me and my husband are in a place where we have additional funds and we play this the right way, we can do a different type of thing, and we can secure our future in a different way. And so I was, at the time, I had a 6-month-old and a 2.5-year-old. And so I was actually going back to school to finish my BSN in nursing. And it just hit me, if I'm willing to do all this extra schooling for this with 2 young kids, all of the extra time pieces that we had available to us as humans every single day, all of the extra little things I was cutting out just provided for more time. So I realized I could create more time to learn something different. And it kind of all happened at the same time. I was listening to a lot of podcasts about real estate in my spare time, in my free time. And I thought, okay, this is something I can get my head around. We had met with 3 different financial advisors. And I remember asking one of the nurses that I worked with what type of investments she made. And it was an interesting conversation, because she just kind of looked at me and she said, well, I guess you just have a lot of extra money. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, how are you responsibly taking anything extra you have and putting it into something that makes sense? Because I'm really struggling here. And so I kind of realized then that these financial advisors were wanting me to invest in bonds and mutual funds. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And so something tangible that me and my husband could understand. And it took a whole year and a half for us to wrap our heads fully around our plan and what we wanted to do. We fell into real estate because we thought this is something that we could understand. And then this was something that I could dedicate extra time to self-managing our property to make sure it was going to thrive. So, yeah.
Nice. I mean, there's no better reason to do it than having a young family and looking at that and looking at what's going on with your mom. And I see it with my parents, and my parents were really responsible, and they're living a comfortable retirement, but they're still living on a very budget, and this is what it is. And the same thing, I look at, my future and say, man, why do I have to plan to only live on this fixed income? There's so much opportunity out there. So I think that's probably, out of anyone that I've talked to, one of the best reasons I've seen anyone say, I'm going to get into the real estate. So that's pretty awesome. So you bought your first short-term rental in 21 or 22?
21. Yep. So me and my husband, I think it was 21. Now you're making me second guess it. It feels like it's been a while.
Yes.
Because now you're kind of in a whole nother world. Once you have that first one, you realize that the people that you identify with just start to shift, right? Your old coworkers, even some of your family, they realize that they just don't think like you, and so they don't connect with your investment portfolio all of a sudden. And so you your conversation starts surrounding the people that can connect that way. But yeah, I wanted a home, and then my husband wanted a condo. We settled with a condo since it was safer. He's safer.
Yes.
I'm like, let's go for it.
Yeah, but it's funny you say that, though, about the friends. I'll never forget after we bought our first short-term rental, and I had somebody that I played cornhole with, and he's like, it's just, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I have friends over here buying beach houses, and I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm like, whoa, like, hold on, man. Like, everybody's got different paths in life, and we all have different, areas where we came from and different goals and where we're going. And, and that family's awesome, and they're crushing it. And he's got his own business now. And, but it's just funny because you get looked at totally different when you can be like, oh, I do this. So it is different. So you got your first short-term rental, and then obviously we hooked up a couple years ago because you thought, you know what, maybe co-hosting could be the next opportunity, and jumped head first into co-hosting. So how many co-host properties do you currently have, and how is that business going for you?
Yeah, so we have 8 properties now. We had 9 at one point, and then somebody, I don't know, I think his name was Joe, he sold that property.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
One of the investors we worked with, we actually manage a property in Asheville now outside of our Emerald Coast area, because that investor he loved it so much on the coast, he wanted to transfer his long-term rental into a short-term rental. So that was neat to see. But yeah, I reached out, we connected on Facebook in the oddest way, because you had just about 10 comments down from a question I asked, and it was about marketing, different things you can put out about your properties. And I was like, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. It was just a good full sentence. And I'm like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. So yeah, yep. It is kind of crazy. It's been a lot of connection in the world since then.
It has. So, and it took a year and 4 months or something like that till we actually got to meet in person, because your family also got to be my family in our pictures for our most recent beach house that we bought, which turned out fantastic. So you guys were the best family for that.
Yeah, it did.
Yes. So you've obviously you've jumped into real estate and getting your short-term rental in 21. You've grown a co-host business, which, as you're in co-hosting, you have 8 properties now. What are your co-hosting goals over the next 6 to 12 months? What are you looking to do in your co-hosting business?
Oh, you're saving. I was wondering why you didn't ask me this morning on our group call. I'm like, why did Joe not ask me? Yeah, ask everybody else. But so right now we are restructuring. We are kind of switching out our properties that are not necessarily the best fit for the type of hosting that we originally got into this for. There was a moment last year, and I could feel that pull. I had 2 or 3 leads that were coming in that I wanted to help save their property, and I wanted to do the right thing with respect of what I could do with their situation. They had, bigger property managements, and the companies were just doing about half the amount of revenue that those properties should be doing, and just really trying to help them come up to that level of respect that the property deserved.
Yep.
However, I realize as I'm being pulled in that different direction and doing so many tasks with our team, stretching out assistants, cleaning people, maintenance people in these different areas, it's kind of pulling me away from the actual properties and the types of properties I want to host. I really love being extra, as the kids these days say
Yep.
it. I like to get in there and do all of the welcome baskets and be super thoughtful. And the hosting style has just changed. And then also design has changed. And we still have some properties in our portfolio that I really want to get in there and help these owners take it to the next level, but I can't do that if we're stretched too thin in the wrong way.
Yep.
So we're making the decision to cut a couple of properties where the owners, are just in this place where they can't add extra amenities and bring it up to market level. And so it's kind of a mutual fit that, they'll just have to grab somebody else, but we're able to think about so many different aspects and levels of hosting because of how much time we're dedicating to it. We just want to stick with the owners that are trying to grow with us and do what's appropriate to the market needs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you have to. I mean, you have to in any business. There's a great book out there called The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he talks about you always got to be looking at your bottom 10% and how are you going to level up? And you can't level up with everybody. Sometimes you have to, leave a little bit at the bottom and move on without them. So, and every year, this is not something you do once a month. This is something you do, maybe it's every month, but you definitely need to do it at least every year and say, okay, what's my goals? What am I doing? And I think this is the right time for you to do that because you've grown and scaled. And now that you are a expert savvy STR agent in the 30A and the Destin area, I have no doubt you'll have either other opportunities come your way in the co-hosting space because you're just becoming that go-to person. So what the heck were you thinking? Why'd you become a realtor?
There again, I met this guy named Joe, and he seemed like he knew what he was talking about, and he made a couple of comments, and I was like, let's have a chat. It fits. It's one of the coolest things because what I've learned in business and real estate and all of these different ventures that grow you as a person, you get fearful right before you change. You get super nervous right before you're about to step into something that's going to be even better.
Yep.
And having that knowledge now, but looking back, I mean, I remember calling you and I was like, I don't know that this is a good fit. I just don't know if I can do this. And without skipping a beat, you were like, let me tell you about this. And then let me tell you how this is going to work. And then let me explain this. And it made perfect sense. And I trusted you. So I said, okay, let's do it. And it complements what I'm already doing in such an incredible way that's actually bringing back so much reward to me because everything I've worked so hard to build for our current clients and for our family, I'm getting to help these people build it on the front end.
Yep.
And then I'm also getting to watch them have excitement about their properties because
Yep.
they're getting excited about all the same stuff that I used to get excited about. So I'm living through them and living it all over again, while we even started all of this.
Yep. No, it's one of the most rewarding things that you're going to find. And I have a first time investor that's closing tomorrow morning on his first ever STR. And it's seeing other people start the journey of changing their life. And maybe it's not changing their life. Maybe they're just buying one short-term rental and that's it, because there's going to be people that we help that do that. And there's going to be some people that they're on their 10th, whatever it may be. But man, it is extremely rewarding to watch somebody, get excited, grow into a new business and take that risk and take that leap and take that jump. So, little over a month in, you got 1.6 million or so under contract already, right?
Yeah. No big deal. It's, it's cool.
So, and I knew you'd be awesome. That's why we had this discussion a long time ago. And I knew that I could not do this Emerald Coast alone. So for those of you out there, I told you a couple weeks ago, I was going to have this announcement. We are taking the Emerald Coast by storm. We are not just going to be Panama City Beach. We are the full thing. Leah is handling everything 30A, everything Destin, everything Fort Walton, and we'll have a very soon announcement on our Forgotten Coast team, which will be coming out here very soon. So, because we're going the other way, we got to go east all the way to St. George Island, because we have 100+ miles of coast down at the beach, and we need to be able to help everyone we can. So, man, super proud of you. Super excited to see where you are right now. So, what has been the biggest struggle in the real estate journey as a realtor so far?
Oh man, what a good question. It's probably the curveballs. I'm used to getting curveballs all time of day. However, some of these curveballs, I get why you have your laptop with you, because sometimes you just gotta flip open that laptop. You gotta put in certain paperwork and then just view certain things on your computer. So
Yep.
I get all of those really funny reels and video clips now of people taking their laptop everywhere with them. It travels everywhere with me, just in case.
It's so huge shout out to my first real estate broker, Kelly Richard, who taught me almost everything I know in real estate. Her daughter and my daughter were both on competitive cheerleading. And for 10 years, I watched Kelly bring her laptop to every cheer competition. And we're sitting there watching the girls, and she's opening it up and writing contracts. And we're sitting in the warm-up room, or we're at the hotel bar at the end of the night. She's like, oh, hold on, I got to do this. And I'm like, but I watched her build this, business that's making, probably $500,000 a year or more. But she's able to never miss a beat. She was there for every cheer competition. She was there at every practice. She was there at everything. And I go back to what you were doing before this as a nurse. If you were working 12-hour shifts, three days a week, how much would you be missing with your kids right now?
Yeah, and I think that I have to remind myself of that often. I was lucky enough to work in the surgery department, so we had holidays and weekends off. However, I was on call quite a bit. But then even just the days that I missed, I totally missed. And then remembering that it would take me a little bit that next day just to catch up, and then catch up around the house and catch up with the kids and get back involved in their school, because I could never fully be involved and present with their school. We were always dressing them in the wrong uniforms on the wrong days, forgetting special snack week and different things like that. And it just became this unsteady thing that I wanted it to be more steady. And I was lucky enough to get a lot of days off. However, certain things you just can't plan for. And so now it's just a matter of reminding myself that even though I am working on these days and on a Saturday evening or on a Monday morning super early, I can switch everything around and I'm still there for them 80% of the time. And I forget that time because I'm so hard on myself. But I think remembering that is the ultimate accomplishment and I am achieving it. But it's still hard because I do feel like I'm always working. I'm always on call.
It is. It is a tough balance, right? I mean, and between co-hosting, property management, real estate, it's all the same business and it's all 24/7. And you'll get to a point where you'll set limits and you won't have calls after 6 p.m. At some point, unless you're working on a deal and you're in the middle of something like, and you'll get to a point where you don't have, the phone 24/7, but at the same time, you do, it's a little bit of both, but there's so much flexibility and so much, you can work around just about anything. And, even when you're looking at your calendar, as long as you keep your calendar organized, be like, okay, I got to take the kids to the doctor on Thursday at 2 p.m. I need to make sure I don't have any calls or I'm not meeting any, doing inspections during that time frame, and you can make sure you're there for it. So before I jumped into this real estate business, before I jumped into real estate at all, I left a 6-figure, business in corporate retail that I was missing everything. I was traveling all over the world and, missing my kids growing up. They were 5 and 8 years old. And I was like, who am I and who are these kids? And that's when I started cutting grass and I could create my schedule, which led me into this business. So it's amazing that you can be this and schedule your time and have this freedom. And yes, you're going to, as we discussed recently, you're going to have weeks that you're like, oh my gosh, this was the worst week of my life. And then a week later, you're going to be like, I am so bored. What am I going to do today? Right? I mean, you're already seeing the ups and downs of that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And a lot of it's pressure I put on myself. I say it a lot, but I'm like, ooh, I'm a really bad boss. Like I'm really hard to work for. So I make it just really tough because I put a lot of stuff on my to-do list. So.
And that's what's going to make you very successful in this business and why our Emerald Coast group is going to crush it the rest of this year and into 2026. So super excited to have you on the team. I knew you were going to be a great fit from the beginning. It's crazy how our relationship has developed over the last couple of years. And, I tell people this a lot of time, you are only one relationship away from changing your future. Right? You're only one person away from meeting one person that could change your future. And for me, there was many people along the way, but I can pinpoint some people and it's like, wow, like that person I met really kind of changed my mindset to move into a totally different direction. And, so like I said, super proud of you. Been watching you crush it. And I have no doubt it's going to continue to be success. So if somebody wanted to buy a short-term rental in the 30A and the Destin market, how could they get a hold of you?
Oh, so my email is my full name, Leah Yuhasz at savvy.realty. Do you want me to spell it?
I will put it in the show notes. So,
Okay.
And then if they are looking for a property manager co-host in the market, how could they get a hold of you?
Same way. We have Instagram accounts. Coastal Beach Getaways is our property management company, and Coastal Beach Getaways on Facebook and on Instagram, and also TikTok. Yeah, TikTok's new to me. I'm a millennial, so not a huge TikToker, but I know a lot of people use TikTok, so we're on there. But yeah,
I'm a Gen Xer and I use TikTok, so you can't use that excuse. So,
yeah.
so just so you know, I just posted a TikTok this morning, which working on content. So, but yes, we will keep working on that.
Thank you for this opportunity. I can't even explain how all of this has changed my life because I'm kind of in the middle of it. It's like I love it, and it's incredible. And you're going to be one of those guys that I'll look back in 5-10 years and we're going to be taking trips together. We're going to be taking sandals trips together.
Yes.
Me and Jen's going to be looking at all our designs, for years to come. So
this is just the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
It truly is just the beginning.
Trusting me. I think that's the biggest compliment is when you can see something in someone else that they don't see in themselves. And that's super powerful. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I am very appreciative. Super glad you came on the show today. We've been talking about this for a while, but I wanted to wait until you became a savvy realtor. Once we started that, I was like, oh, we got to wait now. So, been part of my mastermind, for a long time, always have great input and insights. So, Leah, we will put all of your information in the show notes. Thank you all again for joining me this week on the Co-Host Coach. Until next week, I'll see you then.
See ya.